beginning to hate you.
In this new series, Watch This Not That, Horror Girl and myself will make an underrated movie recommendation for a specific subgenre in horror. Then we'll give our takes on an overrated one. For today, Horror Girl, tell everyone what's today's subgenre.
Living dolls.
Living dolls in horror. So before we get into our takes, how did living doll horror even become a thing?
Hi, it's me, Chucky. What do you think?
So first, we have The Great Gobbo from 1929. Now this wasn't a horror film, but this did have a creepy looking doll and is probably the first to tell a popular story of a ventriloquist experiencing split personality with his dummy.
You remember? I always said they all come back.
I'm nothing.
In Dead of Night 1945, Hugo the Dummy was featured in a horror anthology episode, The Ventriloquist's Dummy. This story is the same idea as The Great Gobbo, but was actually intended as a horror. Even Martin Scorsese admitted that this was the scariest thing he's seen on film.
You wouldn't do that to me.
Oh, wouldn't I? Wouldn't I? Wouldn't I?
Next, we have the Twilight Zone episode Living Doll from 1963, which is probably my favorite episode from that series. This was actually the first visualized possessed doll on film. So in this example, the doll actually talks and moves on her own, even if we don't witness the movements on screen. Big up to Rod Sterling. That man was seriously a legend, and rest in peace.
My name is Talkie Tina, and I don't think I like you.
To Eric Strater, she is a most unwelcome addition to his household. But without her, he'd never enter the Twilight Zone.
So the trend would continue through the years with classics like Devil Doll, Trilogy of Terror, Magic, Poltergeist, Dolls, Puppet Master, you get the picture. Perhaps one of the most recognizable living dolls is Chucky from the 1988 film Child's Play. Chucky is probably the first doll that comes to the average person's mind, and rightfully so, because he started out creepy, then became funny, and probably has the most insane kills out of all the doll gang.
Now there's plenty of modern day examples that can be considered overrated. We have Annabelle from The Conjuring, the puppet from Dead Silence, Brahms from The Boy, and I don't know if Saul's Billy the Puppet counts, but to piss some people off, I want to focus on a 2022 hit, Megan.
What are you doing?
So here's some examples why I think Megan is overrated. All I really have to say is, the fact that this was PG-13, it just was underwhelming in my opinion. And I would prefer to see Megan have some really dope kills and really tear shit up instead of like just watching her line dance down the hallway. So I just think, with the whole marketing behind this film, pushing that dance scene, it brought a lot of that audience to come see this film. And I think that's okay because, it probably makes like a good starter type of horror movie for those type of kids. I just felt like she could have had a lot more potential than what they showed us. And I don't think it's terrible, but I just believe there's better things out there, which is why I'm going to go to the movie that I recommend over Megan.
Perhaps then you might appreciate just how useful I can be.
So instead of watching Megan, I suggest you go check out Dolly Dearest, which I believe is super underrated.
Surprise!
I think the creep factor beats Megan by miles. There's not a scene I actually can remember from Megan that I felt like kind of uneased or creeped out at all. In Dolly Dearest, we had plenty of scenes like Jessica playing with the doll in her playhouse, and her mom kind of like overhears them playing around and talking to each other. To this day, anytime I see that scene, I still think it's one of the creepiest doll scenes ever. There's also that weird little scene where Dolly runs up to Marilyn with a knife and she's just looking buck-eyed crazy as hell, running straight at her. one of my points, is the creep factor that I think in Dolly Dearest is way better than it is in Megan. And another thing is, for a story point, actor Ed Gale, who played Chucky in Child's Play and was uncredited as playing Dolly Dearest, he's on the special features of some DVD, and he's still mad to this day about not being credited.
Or what does he know? We want you to play Dolly, which turned out, I think, am I uncredited on the? Yeah, that was the effects people not wanting anyone to know that it was nothing but their doll. If I wasn't there, the movie wouldn't work.
He said himself in that interview that Dolly Dearest had a better story than Child's Play. And I just think with Child's Play being so iconic, you know, that means a lot coming from someone who experienced working on both productions.
To me, it had more of a story than Child's Play. I mean, Chucky was awesome. I'm not gonna deny that. But Dolly had a story. They could have done sequels.
Alright, so another point I have to make is the CGI in Dolly Dearest. I felt like Dolly throughout the whole movie felt legit. There was no weird CGI used to make her walk or move. And the puppeteering, like I mentioned earlier, was just great. There was also an end scene with all the dolls in the factory tearing shit up. I believe that was super effective. It kind of reminded me of the end scene of Child's Play 2, but instead of like just Chucky being alive, all of the dolls came to life.
You wanna be next?
So for my last point on why I think you should watch Dolly Dearest is the direction in this film. At times, we have the character Jessica playing a semi-possessed girl. I thought her character was very believable, and for a kid to have that type of control and range, I just thought it showed great direction from the director, Maria Leese.
Jessica, tell me what's wrong! Jessica, what's wrong with her?
Also in Dolly Dearest, I cared a lot more about this family's unity. Watching the special features on this film, there's an interview with Denise Crosby, and she actually mentioned when she worked with director Maria Leese, she had more of a sensibility for a family dynamic than working with like other male directors who mostly focused on just the terror of the films. So I thought that was a really cool take, and these are my reasons why you should watch Dolly Dearest.
No, I want my daughter.
So, first of all, I just want to mention that even though I'm telling you to watch the underrated film that I'm talking about instead of The Boy, I mean, I really do like The Boy too. It's just if you enjoyed watching that, you'll probably enjoy watching this, because I think the vibe is kind of the same and the storyline plays out kind of the same, and you just might not have heard of this one.
I was super surprised when you mentioned this film to me.
So the film I chose is Ghost House, which was released in 1988 and directed by Umberto Lenzi, who you might know from other Italian horror films, such as Eyeball, Spasmo, Quiet Place to Kill, Seven Bloodstained Orchids. A lot of the cast of this film is only known for, or has only ever appeared in this film, but there are some notable actors, like Mary Sellers, who's from The Crawlers, Stage Fright, and the 2013 Romeo and Juliet. Laura Wendell, who's in quite a few other Italian horror films like Midnight Killer, Ring of Darkness, and Tenebrae.
We love Tenebrae.
Greg Rhodes, who's in Deadly Manor, Fatal Attraction, Hello Mary Lou, Prom Night 2.
What a classic.
And Donald O'Brien, who was in Zombie Holocaust. And just for you, Ray, the film was edited by Rosanna Landy.
I'm very proud of you for finding that fact, because no one credits editors ever.
I made chili.
Oh, keep it hot. I'll be there in about 2 hours.
Right.
And another thing. Keep yourself hot, too.
So this film, much like The Boy, centers around a problem child who has murderous tendencies, and they're haunting the house with a doll, which is different from The Boy. But as the story goes along, there's still a lot of stuff that you uncover. I do have to mention, much like many other Italian horror films, the music score, which was done by Piero Montanari, was beautifully done, and it matches the suspense of the movie perfectly. So I could have easily said watch Ghost House instead of Poltergeist 1982 as well, because there are so many Poltergeist-esque scenes in this. Like, there's a scene where one of the characters is in the back of a camper van, and it's like shaking and stuff is flying everywhere, but the way it's filmed looks a lot like when Carol Ann is getting sucked into her closet in Poltergeist. And the clown doll in Ghost House looks just like the one in Poltergeist. And for me, he was the scariest part of Poltergeist, so...
I think a lot of people can agree with that. That's all I really remember from that movie is that clown scene.
The clown. So there's a few moments in the film with really good comedic relief, and it's done in perfect 80s fashion with a character that's only purpose is to be funny, and those moments really did make me laugh.
Some joke, huh?
You asshole, who are you? What are you doing here?
My name is Pepe. I'm just looking for a place to spend the night.
I think a lot of the kills in Ghost House were really well done, and the gore in it is actually really good to watch, and sometimes in 80s films it's not the best, but it's really good in this one, and the storyline is definitely interesting. And it's different to how things play out in The Boy, but if you enjoyed watching Brahms haunt his house and uncovering the mystery of the man that's living in the walls, I think you'll really enjoy watching Ghost House and piecing together where the haunting comes from and how it got started, because it does come to light at the end of the movie. And so for all of those reasons, I definitely think you should give it a watch. It's free on Tubi.
Have you ever seen the little girl, Henrietta?
Alright, so for me, instead of watching Megan, make sure you go check out Dolly Dearest. I believe you can still buy it from Vinegar Syndrome. Oh, actually, yeah, you can watch it on YouTube for free. And also you can go and find Ghost House on Tubi for free, Hargo's favorite streaming network. Let us know what's your favorite doll movie in the comments, and if you've seen the ones we mentioned, we would like to hear your opinions as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
See you next time.
The fuck is that?
That's my goodbye.